Hi everybody, and welcome to the second lesson of the Hack the Piano intro course. The last lesson I told you all about how I like to approach music like a language, how we're going to go about in this course, how we can use the word-like chords to build sentences with and reuse them in different kinds of sentences, and also that when we approach music like this, sort of have a true understanding of how this whole musical stuff actually works, how it's built, and we can, reuse it, be free with it, and just have a lot of fun, basically. So in this lesson, I'm going to go over the layout of the keyboard real quickly. So that basically means just which notes are you going to press, how do you know which notes you want to press and where they're situated. It's super easy stuff. If you've never seen a keyboard, it can, look kind of intimidating, but it's really super easy. If you have seen a keyboard, if you have played already, then the first half of this lesson might be a little bit too much beginner level for you. I'll also tell you how to play the song Happy Birthday. Cool is that you can actually play the song and surprise someone on their birthday after just your second lesson. And I will use that to exemplify how we use chords to underpin that song, and you will learn your first two chords, which is actually all that this part of Happy Birthday consists of. So first of all, let's get to the keyboard, which I will explain. As mentioned, I am explicitly saying keyboard now because this is a piano, obviously, although a digital piano, this Roland HP 605, as I told you. But the name keyboard doesn't exclusively relate to a keyboard. This part of the piano is the keyboard, and that's the same on an organ, on a keyboard instrument, or any keyboard instrument. So if you say a keyboard, people often think, that electronical thing with a lot of buttons and all. It's all keyboard instruments. This part is called the keyboard. And a regular piano, which this is not, but it simulates a regular piano outstandingly. A regular piano has 88 keys, like this one has as well. Now, pianos and keyboards come also in 49 keys, 64 keys, 73 keys, 79 keys. Whatever amount you have, it doesn't really matter. You can follow along on any of those boards. I advise to at least have 49, but anywhere from there and up is okay. But this one has 88 because it simulates an actual piano. And also, if you're looking to get a piano, then there's more to it than just that there are keys, okay? It's also how they feel when you press them. So this Roland actually feels like you're playing an actual piano because it's called a weighted key. It has a hammer action, simulates like an actual piano has a hammer in it, which strikes a string, and that's what produces the tone. Well, that's what this one simulates perfectly. It feels like you're actually controlling that hammer. And also, what's very good about that is because it's made out of wood. They're actually made out of wood with a plastic top layer. And it feels like you would. You just basically think that you're playing an actual piano. It's really good. On the other hand, it doesn't require the amount of maintenance because it's plastic. So that's very, very nicely done. But the keyboard itself has 88 keys. So, and how do we know which keys we want to press? Well, basically, if you want to navigate through this board and be able to play freely, then first of all, we're gonna just use those white keys to start with. But still, how do you know which white key you want to press? Well, the visual indication of the board is these 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 blacks. Okay, there's groups of 2 and 3 and 2 and 3. 2, 3, and that's all over the board, as you see. That is how we can know where we are, because if I say press or play the tone that's left of the 2 blacks, then you play that one, right? But you could also play this one because it's also situated to the left of those 2 blacks, right? And the beauty of it is that most people tend to approach this as being all different notes, but actually that's not the case. It's just this block in terms of remembrance. So if you really take note of that this note is actually the same note as this note. It's called the same, it sounds the same, only lower and higher. Okay, so it's important to realize also that we're going up that way and down that way. So these are the lower notes, and then we get really high over there, okay? Right is up, higher notes. Left is down, lower notes. So as I tell you to play that note left of the two blacks, that one, that's called a C. And why a C? Well, actually those whites are called after the first few notes of the alphabet. So that's actually pretty easy as well. But normally I'd say start at A, right? We're starting at A in the alphabet as well. But the A is kind of difficult to find when you're just starting out because it's in between those three blacks. This is called A. But then it just walks up the scale. Scale. Well, we'll get to that later. But it walks up the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then, as you might see, we have, but this is a little harder, as I said, in between that three blacks over there, the right two of those is, again, an A and a B and a C. As mentioned, that C, left of the two blacks, is a C anywhere on the piano. So, if you just remember this block, which makes it a lot less overwhelming than this whole thing, then you know the names of the white keys, A, B, C, and I advise to start remembering this one. Why that is, I will tell you later, but for now, also just take it as mentioned, this A is a little harder to find, and you can just count down, okay? C, B, A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we get back to A. We're going to start and build a chord from that C. As I already showed you in the previous lesson, a chord is basically just multiple notes sounding at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to play that C, then we're going to skip a note, then we're going to play that E, okay, C, D, E. It's not very important, but it's just if I tell you to play a C and you know where the C is situated, then it's just a way of communication, okay? So try and remember it. It's not a super big deal, but you'll get the hang of it nevertheless. C, D, skip, E, skip the F, and then play a G. Sounds real full, rich immediately, right? And what if I do this? Wow, right? Or this. You know, that sounds real majestic and full, flowing even. That's because I play those three notes simultaneously and play a chord. Yeah, it's sort of the harmonic basis, the bed of music. Because if I would just do this, that's pretty cool as well, but you know, it's not as full as this. Now, the multifunctionality of this grip, I like to be effective and see where we can, you know, find things that are similar and use it. So as we have now this chunk of how the notes work, and we now have a chunk that's a chord. So take this grip, yeah? Try and keep your hand like this. So I'm playing my thumb, middle finger, and pinky, okay? And these two are on notes that are not played, right? And then move that, just take the grip, keep the grip the same, and move it over to a G. Now I'll give you a second to find the G, because now you know the notes. If you don't know, then just count up from the C or down, whatever. I'm gonna go down in a sec. C. And we actually are already playing a G, right? But make that the bottom note. So we're gonna swoop. And that works, right? We have one grip and we can already play two chords. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right, cool, right? You know, you have just with the one grip, you can know two chords and you can play this song. You can also sing it an octave higher, by the way. This is pretty low, actually, but happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, right? So that's kind of the easy version. What I do is I play happy birthday to you, then I play happy birthday birthday to you. So it's just going back and forth 2 times the C. Happy birthday to next chord. Happy birthday, exactly the same, but the other way around. Okay. Now, you could also play something like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Now, I don't want to play this to overwhelm you, but I just want to show you that I think I already exemplified this in the last lesson real quickly. This is another way of pronouncing. So with just these 2 chords, if you know that this chord consists out of these 3 notes, just like you would with a word consist out of those letters, or maybe even better, a sentence has, you know, these words, you can reposition those words and say them in a different way, pronounce them in a different way. That's the same here. I'm just using different kinds of pronunciation to make this more complicated, more interesting maybe. And as in the previous lesson, you can go from there to there, super many different styles and approaches and rhythms, if you know how to play with these words. But first, not to get too complicated, for now, just try and practice happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. And if you want to get crazy, then try and play the left hand as well, okay? What I just showed you. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. So as you might notice, and I'll get more into this in this next lesson or the lesson after that, not sure yet, we'll play the lowest note of what we do with our right hand, okay? So going to G, G to C, super easy. All right, so that's it for this lesson, because I don't want to overwhelm you. Just practice this and surprise someone on their birthday. Next lesson, we'll finish off this song, because you know there is a tiny little end over there, where I'll show you your next chord, and we'll get into a few other cool things that you can do to make this a little more interesting. So that was it. I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.